And if there's no negative drawback to it, if it's only incentive,
Mhm.
why not attempt to put yourself in a better position to hold on to your people longer?
Welcome to Rock Stars of Remodeling, a podcast presented by Remodeler Media, where the best and brightest stars in home improvement share actionable insights with like-minded industry standouts like you. I'm your host, Drew Barto. I spent 13 years as the Director of Marketing for a replacement window and door company in Pittsburgh, where I learned a lot from some of the great minds in the home improvement industry. I aim to bring many of those voices to you on this show to help you gain more leads, close more sales, and boost your bottom line. Let's rock.
This episode is being brought to you by ProVia. ProVia produces professional class entry doors, vinyl replacement windows and siding, manufactured stone, and metal roofing. When you partner with ProVia, you get expert installer training, lifetime limited warranties, responsive sales, marketing, and customer service support, and additional tools to help build your business. Visit ProVia.com to learn more. Hi, everyone. I'm thrilled to welcome Nick Roberts onto the show today. Nick is the Executive Vice President at Homefix Custom Remodeling, an exterior remodeling company with 8 locations up and down the East Coast of the United States. He's a member of Pro Remodeler's 40 Under 40 class of 2023 and someone who worked his way from a canvasser at his company all the way up to the leadership position he now holds. Today, we'll learn more about his unique journey through the ranks at Homefix and hone in on his innovative tiered sales structure that has helped increase retention in his sales department. Nick, thanks so much for joining me on Rock Stars of Remodeling.
Drew, I appreciate you guys having me. I'm excited to be here, buddy.
All right, let's set the stage. Before we get into it, let's set the stage. Can you briefly talk about the types of products you offer at Homefix, just so our audience has an idea, and how's the business grown over the years?
We originally started as a window company back in 1990. It was primarily just windows and siding. Over the years, we have grown it to windows, siding, roofing, doors, and the newest thing now is the solar thing. So we have some solar stuff too as well at this point.
Very good. And so let's dive right into more of your personal journey at Homefix, because I know it's interesting. I remember talking to you earlier for our article in Pro Remodeler. And so when and how did you get your start in the industry, and kind of what was the path that led you to where you are today?
So to take you all the way back, I was a 4-sport letterman in high school. I couldn't find a part-time job. Had some personal things go on with my family. My family got split kind of my sophomore year. My mom went to Virginia. My dad stayed in Texas. I went with my mom. And right then I was big into sports, but I needed to find some money. It was, a different type of situation personally. And so I had a friend of mine on the baseball team that told me about Homefix. He said, look, I'm working for a company called Homefix. It's right down the street. And, what they'll do is, they'll essentially pay you a commission to schedule appointments for them. I figured, you know what? I got the time. Let me go in after practice. I sat down with, the canvas manager, and he basically explained it like this, Drew. And I think a lot of my success is how things were framed to me, right? And so he said, look, go out there, schedule an appointment, and I'll give you $125 for every appointment you schedule. And I go, well, how much do we charge to come talk to them? And he said, well, it's free. And I said, you got to be kidding me. I thought it was like an Amway thing, a multi-level marketing thing. I was like, you're kidding me. And so, it seems so simple to me. And so, really that day I went out in a neighborhood right around the school, knocked on a couple doors, and I scheduled, 4 or 5 appointments. I thought it was fairly easy. My, really my sophomore year in high school, I made just under $50,000.
Wow, that's incredible.
Yeah, not bad for a high schooler for sure. So from there, it was kind of like I got this bug of like commission sales. It was so fascinating to me, and I did that through high school. When I was obviously older, the marketing manager said, hey, look, you can come sell for us. And so I started selling. 2005 was my first year. I finished second in the company behind some no-name guy named Adam Champagne.
No name. Yeah, none at all.
He is now our CEO. Yeah. So Adam and I were sent to Jersey. Adam on the sales side, me on the marketing side, because I obviously had years of experience as a marketing guy. I did about 10 months there. And what's interesting about this, Drew, is I wasn't great at this. I would say I failed as a canvas manager. So, I had a conversation with the owners, and, they basically said, look, we love you in sales once you go back that route. Now, so I actually went backwards in my career. In 2007, I left management. I went back to sales. underneath Adam. I was,
Okay.
and I was his top rep. So from 7, 8, 9, I just ran leads and sold. And it was some of the happiest years of my life. And then in 2014 or 13, Adam was named CEO. I kind of became the director of sales for the company. And then we had a guy named Keith, who's my partner, who became the director of marketing. And so, I did that for years and years and years. And then this year I became the EVP, which really is just more of managing the sales side, but also trying to get into some of these other verticals, marketing operations, to see what I can do to be a help and a benefit there. So that's kind of how it happened for me. The whole thing started with this canvassing thing. To this day, I always thought it was the greatest way of getting into sales.
Yeah, if you can knock doors and get people to commit to an appointment who weren't even thinking about windows and doors at that time, I mean that just sets you up to be successful in sales, I think, as you grew into that role. And when I interviewed you for Pro Remodelers 40 Under 40, I was intrigued by your innovative sales structure. It's something I actually hadn't heard about before. Can you outline the details of what that tiered structure looks like, and how salespersons inside of your organization can sort of earn promotions at each tier?
One of the things that I think every commission-based sales company faces is attrition with reps, right? And our job as leaders is to try and create a career for people, help them grow, and retain your people. And so we were just trying to think of ways that we could keep our people longer, bring better people in, et cetera, et cetera. And, I've always kind of thought of employment as like, there's 4 kind of pillars of happy employment, right? And it's like, it's money is one of them, culture is another one, advancement, and then autonomy, right? And so when I talk about advancement, it doesn't necessarily mean promotions. And I think a lot of times managers look at advancement and they think, I got to promote somebody, I got to do this, I got to do that. But really what I think people are looking for isn't maybe necessarily promotion, but mastery or advancement in some type of a field. If they feel as though they're getting smarter at it, they're making more money at it, they're progressing themselves career-wise, I think that is just as powerful as a promotion. And sometimes for managers, it gives you more time with your people.
Yeah.
I think another, a big issue is that we live in a kind of a world of instant gratification. And so, maybe 10 years ago, there was a little bit more patience when it came to advancement, right? People were committed to working in companies for 4 or 5 years before they went another level. Now, we live in a world where you can, press a button and get food delivered, press a button and have a movie streamed to your phone. And so that instant gratification makes retention a little harder because you have to show those advancements, those masteries, that culture faster. And so what we did was we put together, like you said, a tiered program for our sales force. It's 3 tiers, and then there's a captaincy after. Everybody starts on tier 1. And it's kind of our way of saying, look, this is your introductory. You have a basic training process. Your commission is set at this. Your time off is set at this kind of thing. And then when they get to $1 million, they go to tier 2. Now, we put ours as kind of a performance tier thing, but there is no stipulation on when they get to $1 million, right? So It also encourages people not only to perform, but to hang in there, right? And so if you're somebody that's just wildly talented, you're making, sale after sale after sale, you can get to tier 2 really quickly, but you don't necessarily have to get to it that way. You can also do it by being consistent, right? Once you get to $3 million, it goes to tier 3. And we have different names for them. It goes from associate to consultant to senior consultant to captain.
Okay.
And, as you said, as you increase in tiers, we give extra back. It's a commission-based thing. So I can't give them, health insurance, a 401k. But what I can do is I can bonus based on performance, right? And so we stipend people at higher tiers, to give them the feel of having that consistent pay. And once they get to these tiers, they're going to get that stipend forever. And so it's a nice way. It's a nice way of a commission rep of knowing that in the past, I got nothing unless I sold. Now I know that I'm at least going to get gas covered or my phone covered every single month. And obviously, as the tiers goes, those amounts increase. And so what we find is they progress through the tiers, they want to get to the next level even more because it's even more guaranteed pay, it's more perks. And there's some other little things, upgraded business cards, some increases in like swag stuff. You're trying to show them, look, you don't have to necessarily be a sales manager or a VP. We can progress you in your current field.
Yeah, and in my background in the industry and then the people I've talked to over the years, it typically is that here's a flat rate, here's your commission percentage, here's what it is, this is what it's always going to be. But I really like that concept of, hey, you reach this level, you've got a little bit. You have to maintain. Obviously, there's pressure to always maintain and continue to grow.
Yeah.
But you've got this little bit of extra something there that you're getting always, probably on a monthly basis. That it takes a little bit of that edge off, right?
It does, yeah, and even when they have bad months, it supplements it to where they feel like they're still in the game, and so it keeps people's hopes up. It keeps them optimistic. It keeps them performing. We find a ton of benefits with it. It's also a way for us to kind of hone in on who our leadership should be in the future. I think every company should have an idea of what their bench looks like, right, and what their prospects maybe look like, and have a plan for trying to develop those future leaders. And so this is one of those ways where we can kind of try and identify who those people are, how fast they progress through those things, and start working with them a little bit more on some stuff that we might look for them in the future.
So you mentioned that as a benefit to your business, being able to maybe identify future potential leaders within the organization. What other sort of benefits have you seen with this system from a business perspective, on the business side, not necessarily from the sales person's perspective, but from your perspective on the business side?
Well, as you said to begin with, it's an immediate help on retention. Retention is one of those things that you just want to hold on to people. So showing them a path where they can constantly increase their standing and their money is a big thing. Obviously, we find that we're going to get a better performance because they're trying to reach to those things. As far as the rest of it, it's everything I said. It's a progression system, and so for us, it just allows us to track and motivate them for even more. To be upfront, we put a Rolex at $7.5 million. You know what I mean? A customized Rolex for them. We want them not only to be motivated by the money, but other things, awards, gifts, incentives. And so it's just a nice way for us to kind of compartmentalize those things in a structured way.
That makes a lot of sense. And as I mentioned, on this show, we always try to get those very specific things that can help sales managers, business owners now. And I think learning about this type of sales structure could get people thinking, like, how can I do something like this? But your information was great. And before we go to that, I think I'd be remiss not to ask you. In my experience, salespeople hate change. So if you already have a sales structure in place,
they do.
So what would you say to the business owner or the sales manager who would be hesitant to curb what they're already doing, what they know, what they've known for decades, maybe, and try to introduce something like this to their sales team? What kind of advice would you have for them?
Well, they're just like anything. First, I would say to understand the objection itself. What's the concern? I guess the concern would be the change itself. For us, I don't see how it hurts. And I think that's a big thing, is that you want to look at it from a point of view of, how does it benefit them? Is there any kind of a negative drawback to it? And if there's no negative drawback to it, if it's only incentive, mm-hmm. Why not attempt to put yourself in a better position to hold on to your people longer? Everybody hates change, to be perfectly frank. Of course, Drew, salespeople more than most. They are creatures of habits. They're kind of pitching the same thing every single day.
Yeah.
But if the change is framed in a way that makes them feel as though they're winning, you can't lose.
I think this is a brilliant idea to start there, especially with new hires that are coming in, to give them something to work towards that they haven't had in the past. People who maybe been in the industry and want to make a change and work for you, they now see you as something different, right? I think that helps set you guys apart. So, Nick, I really appreciate you being on here today. Nick Roberts, everyone, Executive Vice President at Homefix Custom Remodeling. And again, Nick, let's do this again sometime.
Drew, it's always fun, buddy. Anytime, you let me know.
Thank you for listening to Rock Stars of Remodeling. As promised, there were some amazing takeaways that you can use to build a better business for yourself, your employees, and your customers. If you've got an idea for a future episode or a guest I should invite onto the show, I'd love to hear from you. And don't forget to follow Rock Stars of Remodeling on Spotify or SoundCloud. And click the like button on this episode. Until next time, rock on.